Taurus. Welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I'm ready here to do your next reading. I've pre-shuffled the cards here for you. Taurus, I have 4 cards, 3 here and 1 over here. And let's see, what do I feel? Well, first, this is like a memory. This is the last card I was shuffling. I wasn't quite sure. It kind of wanted to present itself. I wasn't quite sure about this one. It's like, I feel like it's a reference to how it was once. It's like if you have seen maybe a sense of progress in your spiritual life, or, well, I usually read for people that are in a spiritual awakening setting, or like a seeker's, a pilgrimage or something. And this is maybe what you're currently like dealing with, right? And this feels a little bit like it's like the past, or that when you actually compare something with like this state, then maybe you realize how far you've come. That's what I feel like, how far you've come, or how, at least I feel there is a difference between this and this. You decipher whether it's good or bad, right? Maybe good in one way and bad in another. Maybe there was something good about this, but also bad about it. Maybe there's something good about this, but also bad about it. Okay. Well, Taurus, you are about money, right? You are about confidence, self-worth, establishing ourselves in the world, figuring out how to, like, finding that place of ours, right, where we matter, where we can somehow make a difference, or maybe create a living. You're ruled by Venus. You could be like, it could be creative. It could be Venusian, like about love and romance and relationships and things like that. Liking pretty things, vacation, or just pampering, like a pampering sense of something. Or if not pampering, I would say self-care, right? And self-care doesn't have to, well, it could be, it just have to be true to you, right? Self-care can be sleeping in, not getting out of bed, because you need the rest, right? Self-care can be maybe about, if you like that and you're into it and it's not a role you play, that it's not something you do for others, and then maybe self-care can be a nice long bath with maybe incense or oils, taking your time, with your body, cream, it's but you're doing it for you, right? It's a sensual thing that, okay, I have to take a bath. That's a thing we do, us people, us humans, right? We take baths and keeps ourselves clean in that way. But I'm not just taking a bath, I'm making this a self-care routine, right? And I'm doing it for me. Like it's It's not because I have to look in a certain way for my partner. I have to look in a certain way because of my job. I have to present in a certain way for my children or for community. No, this I'm doing because it's right for me. And maybe there's a difference between what you did once or didn't do and what you're doing now. And maybe also a priority shift in what is actually self-caring. Like maybe once you thought that this was a good thing to do for you, but you realized that it never was. And now, like if I wanted to be self-caring for myself once, I did this. And today when I look at that, it's like it's really like it lacks, I feel like it lacks heart. Like what I did then was superficial, perhaps. What I'm doing now is like really really caring. And then I want to say that like it could be interesting to examine the source of this. Like what kind of voice or feeling or need was driving this? And what kind of voice and feeling and need is driving this now? What are the intentions behind it? Again, as I said, are you doing it for others? Are you doing it for yourself? Is it to blend in? Is it to live up to certain expectations? Or I guess society can dictate something. It dictates sometimes fashion, right? It dictates sometimes how we look, what kind of clothes is currently in the shops, what colors are preferred, the makeup, the style, the hair. And are you into all of that, or have you like your own something that is you? Like let's say you have straight hair, and when if you had straight hair in the 80s, right, where like bouncy curls were really high fashion, you probably did that, with the like iron, curly irons or something, right? But you could also have your straight hair. But then you would, not blend in, then you would stand out. So what did you do? Like, did you take your iron, curly iron out and do that? And what would you do today? Like if it was the highest fashion with bouncy curly hair, what would you do? Would you take out the iron, the curly iron, again and do it again? Probably not. I feel a difference here. Take it how it resonates. Maybe, once if I should be like really giving myself a treat, I would make a party, I would drink, I would drug, I would have a good time, I would, eat the food I just wanted. Maybe it was, and now it's maybe you have a totally different lifestyle. Maybe it's you have, what your priorities are now. It's not this. Like this was maybe to have fun. Maybe this was desire based, and this was more love based. Like if I should treat myself with care, well, I can care if I, like, you could even say, is it nurturing to me? Sometimes, like drinking and drugging, well, in the moment it seems like it's a good thing, right? And then there's this aftermath, you would say. Maybe you're doing something here where there is no aftermath. You see, like the difference of something. Here there could be high highs and low lows. Here maybe it's a different choice, right? There's a choice here and a choice here. It's maybe a different choice. And I feel it's almost like this is not like, it's not on the agenda. Like, this is what you're dealing with. This is what the reading will be about. This is just like a comparison, I feel like. That if we take this card out, you will feel the comparison. Or we could say that, like you're doing something right now, and maybe you meet up with someone from the past and they can just almost not recognize you. You see an old boyfriend and they're just like, what has happened to you, right? And in that way you get reminded, like in that way you remember, oh, when I was with him, I was like this and I did that, and this was my thinking, this was what I was doing, these were my priorities, my values at that point. And now it's like, now I am this, right? Okay. I want to say, because I feel like there are two energies, maybe you need to like switch, like Taurus, maybe you are the one meeting someone and they are now presenting very different, right? And you are the one standing here kind of stunned, and like, what happened here? How different they are, or how they come across is so, different. I've said before this idea that when we stand in front of something that is opposite to us, this is the best way we can grow as people. But staying together with this energy can be very painful, because fundamentally both of you are very different, and making this a unified, you would say, creation requires a lot of work on both sides to see each other, to like have a more blended, that to like, you can have these opposites and they can stay opposites. And then it will be painful. If they somehow figure out how to blend with each other, then it becomes better, right? But it takes devotion on both sides. It takes that both of them see each other's value. Like with you in my life, I feel happier than without you, right? And it means there's something to you that is important to me. And both of them have to have that. If both of them can see this, then the blending is possible, but otherwise it will just be like a power struggle. Nobody will bend, or nobody will give. That could also be something here. Like maybe you, maybe this is a version of you where you were, you had control. Control is sometimes the solution to not having trust in life. Then we build control instead. Maybe you see now how you allow more, perhaps. Or the other, well, we'll see. Center card, always important. Let's have a look. Tenderness. True love, compassion, tenderness, connection. Interesting card. Interesting. Tenderness, right? As I said, I get something about self-care, something about true love, compassion, like recognizing, look at, like she's a human and this is an animal, right? And they recognize each other, right? It's like meeting up with like the most beautiful connection in the world, no matter of, you could say, in this case, gender or look, like there's no, there's an openness and like a heart connection. You can feel the heart connection over everything else. Or even, you know, like a heart connection over, you could say in the past, again I get this like past reference, like in the past maybe we would judge someone like this. Right? Like they represent like a giraffe, but take it how it resonates. Maybe this can talk about someone with a different color, a different religion, a different set of world values, a different lifestyle. Maybe someone who was religious and you were not. Someone who thought and acted differently than you. It can be an animal, of course. It can be like a true connection with a giraffe here, or a horse, or a dog, or a cat, or something. And feeling that you have such tenderness and true connection here with this connection, with this person or animal or creature here, more than you've ever felt before. Again, I feel like there's this like comparison to something. Maybe you have your focus on true love here, and maybe in the past you were settling for something else, or you didn't even have your mind on it. Maybe you were occupied, as I said, with work. Tenderness, like that is being tender and gentle, and I felt like this feeling of like self-care and caring, like caring. Caring for someone here. As I said, like Venus is about relationships, close relationship, romantic relationships. Can be about family, right? And being what is actually true care, perhaps, or true love, true compassion. What is that exactly? What does that require of you, and what does it require of someone else? Like, is it so I hear the word reassurance. There's something about how, like, if you should how to recognize true love means that, like, reassurance is a big thing. I think that yes, maybe I can, to a certain point, right? Yes, maybe I can mess up. You know, but if I come here, there will be some kind of understanding, right? I get a vibe that that is maybe not, because here I'm touching upon something that can be a bit different in romantic relationships. This vibe it comes across a bit more like I feel like friendship, but I have to explain it, I think. Like this is someone you have like deep true connection with. And normally I would say this could be a romantic partner, right? But the reassurance, there is something about the reassurance that is interesting and different than the relation, like sometimes in friendships and then romantic relationships. Friendships, usually, I've talked about this before. You could look at the latest Pisces reading I did, I believe it was, where I talked about like the comfort zone of the friend. Like the one where you know here there will be reassurance. Like the friend is different than well, of course, your best friend can be a romantic partner. But as I said, it takes a certain amount of adaptation to figure this out. Sometimes it even never works and people repel each other again. The friend, and then you run to the friend, right? When it doesn't work out here, where you are maybe you have been attracted to your opposite here. When it doesn't work out, you can't seem to figure it out, then you run to the friend. The friend. Because of the reassurance, right? In the friend zone here, this is a comfort zone. The comfort zone allows us to rejuvenate. It allows us to feel okay again. It allows us to be reassured that no, you did nothing wrong, it was the right choice or whatever, right? Sometimes the friend zone can be about when we are in when we always, have the friends around us that like us. They have chosen us. They like us. They like the way we are. So it's easier to feel comfortable here and reassured here. And sometimes you can mess a bit up here, and you will when you come back, you will still be liked. Like you will still be like the doors will still be open, even if we haven't spoken for 3 months, right? The doors are still open. But if you did the same thing in a romantic relationship, you would have problems or crises here, right? A romantic relationship, it's like sometimes I believe it can be beautiful. Especially in the beginning, right? It can be very beautiful. But it can also become a ticking bomb, right? And there can be this, like you are always on to each other. Do you know, like, but if he's not coming home at night, or she is not coming home from work, there's something wrong, right? Or where are they? Like, it's 3 hours ago. Why haven't they turned up yet? Like, it's intense. Like, it has an intensity and an investment or a I think it's normal because the romantic relationships, it's about merging. It's about bringing two halves together. That's what is going on there. It's a different place than the comfort zone or the here. This, I feel like it represents, I'm not saying you can't have true love over here. Then I would say it's probably more of a friend that you have aligned with and not your opposite. Like the opposites it's very difficult. It takes a while. And sometimes people break up, they come back together, they break up, come back together. It's because there's so much energy there, right? There's a lot of energy release. I've said before, in the comfort zone, people like you no matter whether you have morning hair and smelly feet, right? They like you anyway. If this is a dog or a horse or something, a giraffe here, they like you anyway. They don't judge how you look. They don't judge your like your height or what you weigh or the color of your eyes or whether you have like big ears or anything. They don't care about that. It's your personality, it's your charm, it's your humor. Or in this case, between two different species, it's like both of them like what the other one has. It's a heart-oriented, intuitive connection. They don't even speak the same language. Like they speak and connect through something else here. And it's like that there are different kinds of relationships, right? This is a different kind of relationship than this other one is. This can be highly committed and forever, for lifetimes, It can be. Because in this connection, something specific is found that you don't have in like a different kind of relationships. So there can be something about I feel this is about what you feel you need. I can't tell you what you need, but if you feel like you need calm and peace and something reliable or in your life, then I would say this is probably the best way you can find it. You will be more challenged in especially the like opposites attract kind of relationships. This is more intense. This is more peaceful. This is more peaceful, I feel like. We could even say it could be the feeling of getting together with like a soulmate. Maybe it's not even sexual. Like it can be solely heart-based. Like if you love your horse, for instance, right? That you have this special connection with. Like that's not sexual. It's a different thing. It's a different vibe. This can, of course, be with another person, right? It could be. I even want to say, like it's like having a best friend here. Someone who always, as I said, reassures you, would always support you, and is very tender and gentle and kind, and there's a lot of compassion here, And there is like this total acceptance of each other. Like that there is this understanding, this total acceptance and validation and everything. And this is usually what you find, maybe more so what we say our like a best friend or something, like a best girlfriend, the friend you go to as a man if you know you're not having a guys night out. No, you feel down. So whom do you go to when you feel down? There has to be a certain trust, and they would never, like, you trust them. Yeah, you trust them, and they would never betray you or gossip about you or something. Like you share something, like there's a private space there where there is confidence, and what we say here, like there's a connection of true validation and care and kindness. And it's like they have chosen each other, right? You have chosen each other based on something special. And it's kind of a comfort zone, I think, for both of you, right? It's a comfort zone for both of you. So of course this can be, like I go home and talk to my mother. That could be it, right? But it could also be, I want to say it can represent anything. Like maybe you talk to God here. Again, a reassurance. You're seeking some kind of kindness, a reassuring kindness, and where that is, or with whom, or what. That's what I feel like. Maybe that it's a center card, so it has a certain value. It's something you're thinking about. Like it's on your mind. Maybe it's something about whom to trust in this way. Do I have people like this in my life? Or if I do, who is it then? Where do I go if I'm looking for this, right? Air, paradigm shift. Well, it is the left card. Sometimes it indicates like past or something that has been leading up to this moment here. Air, paradigm shift. I feel like I've talked a lot about air change. When I started my channel, I realized I talked sometimes about, I talked a lot about shifting the ways we think, becoming aware of self-sabotaging feelings and thoughts, and like something like that. I feel like it has been very apparent for a long time. I've had many air cards. King of Air, Queen of Air, this air card, ether card, things with wings, cards with wings, and bird, it's very air. There has been a lot of air thing going on. I feel like in my last rounds of readings, transformation of shifting a paradigm here, a way of thinking. Like a paradigm indicates, you say, a set of ways of thinking, in this case, air. It's a set of ways of thinking that is now shifting to something else. So there could be different priorities here. There could be a change of focus. There could be different values. There could be something about different boundaries or setting yourself free from something, shifting from one set of, like one belief system into something else. maybe there is a priority here to have more friends like this in your life, as opposed to maybe, you were looking for romantic love. Like that could be something about maybe changing your mind of where you think you have more of this feeling, where to find it here, and feel more comfortable and feel more at home. Like this is the feeling of coming home, right? Like here I am safe, here I can relax, here I know I'm validated, I'm loved, here I know that I am safe, yeah, I can relax, it's peaceful here. I'm not saying romantic, but it's interesting because when we are in romantic relationships, this is what we regard as home. Honey, I'm home. But sometimes you have more like wars or bomb experiences here than you have in the friend area. But we usually talk about it as home. Like finding this other person, then we create that home together, right? But are we really doing that sometimes? I feel like here there is a priority shift going on about where to look for something that is truly caring. Maybe to recognize it, to find out the characteristics of what characterizes true love and true care. And as I said, you can show up exactly as you are. You don't have to, like put on a lot of makeup and the high heels to be validated and loved. You can show up exactly as you are. There will be no criticism. Like there are no demands in that way, right? They love you the way you are. They love you if you shift your hair color or get a new haircut, or you suddenly decide to become goth and you dress up all black. Well, they may, like, okay, you look like this now. Great. Interesting. But they wouldn't, shut the door. They wouldn't reject you because the connection you have with them it doesn't matter. There's no judgment, there's no prejudice, there's no belittling or something. That's not how this works. We could talk about that. If this is not, now it's depicted as an animal here, right? But maybe this is nature. Like walking in nature, maybe you feel more loved in nature than you do among your family or friends, so-called friends. Do you get my point? It's something about finding the places where this recognition is felt, where you can feel this. And you can feel the difference also. The difference of like one set of maybe friends and another set of friends, or a romantic relationship and what happened in there. And then maybe this beautiful friend of yours. And how you can reconnect with them, even if there has been, maybe, as I said, this could be someone from the past you haven't seen in a long time, right? But reconnecting with them is like, this is the most natural, beautiful thing. And nobody is holding a grudge. Nobody is, things like that. It's just so beautiful to connect again. You see, like that's the feeling There's no time to this. Like, there's no like sense of obligation or only if you are like this, you are my friend, or only if you have to call me twice a week, otherwise we can't be friends. Or this has to do with like a deeper sense of, I don't know, it's like you are a match, so you are similar in some way. So let's say you haven't spoken in 6 years, but they are the same as you, like they are like you. They understand that this can happen. They wouldn't judge you about it, because they are equally as responsible for this than you. Do you see? It's like they know this about themselves, and you know this about you. But finally finding that again, finally coming back together again, it's just so natural. And wow, we haven't spoken in like 4 years or so, but I'm so glad to see you. And the other one responds in exactly the same way. And there is no, like old grudge and why didn't you call me? And like you just left me, like these. That's not what this is. But they are still different than you. Like again, it's not like a mirror of herself or himself or themselves here. They are different, right? But it's like they swing together. Like they are perfect swings together. You see, they are similar to you, but not you. Right? They're similar to you, but not you. So if this is more like a friend and not a sexual or romantic partner, let's say that one of these are gay. So they are similar in their heart structure and their worldviews than you, but they are not like you, for instance. So you will not end up becoming a sexually romantic partner or relationship, but maybe you end up becoming like the best, most beautiful friends here. Or maybe like you realize something about this kind of like what characterizes true love. Normally people would come up with a lot of different things, but what I'm asking here is that you turn the tables around and you try to see it from their point of view. Like what would they ask of you in regards to true love? And when you compare these two settings, like are they mergeable? And what values are here? Sometimes there are many superficial kinds of values, but one of the things that I find is truly most important is that I choose you and you choose me. I want to hang with you, you want to hang with me. Actually, there's nothing else. Because it's like all the superficial stuff is not really like that. These are limitations or demands, and the more you have of them, the more difficult, of course, it will be to find a partner like that. But the point is that, can I truly choose you? And can you truly choose me? And based on what? Looks? Sexual appeal? Money? What is it that is between them here? That defines that this is true love. I believe that, well, in my humble view, it's a heart connection. And a heart connection that is stronger than the mind. Like all your old egotistical or views of something, the ways we have been programmed, the choices to be made, it has to override that. Because maybe you thought you should find your true love in another field. Like this connection again, like the amount of as I said, these can be friends, and maybe they have been away from each other for years. But coming back together again is just so beautiful. Here there is a true understanding of what both of you need, and it fits. Like there is a much more relaxed, you could say, like approach to each other. In romantic relationships, usually there are some like one has certain thoughts and ideas, and maybe the other one is not quite on board. Maybe one wants to have children, the other doesn't, or maybe they do, but not now, and like that. Like the romance, the romance period is usually like really beautiful, and then you get into the everyday life, and it's expected that you live together. It's expected that you are under one roof. It's expected you have children. It's expected that you stay together. That's kind of the deal, and finding your happiness here. But somehow I feel like this is challenged, like you've changed your mind about something here, that I find that it's more loving, or I have found that other kinds of people, or maybe nature or God or an animal here, is much more flexible, is much more caring. Like it cares about its own needs, but it actually also cares about mine, and it can have compassion for my life and how I conduct my life and what I have done in my life. Right? And I prefer to sit with a person like that than this intense like romantic again in this setting. It's so personal. We take things so personal. It's nobody can make a mistake here without that the other may react to it and not liking it, and like changing a hairstyle. What does that mean, right? Or maybe not. But again, depending on what dynamic we have here, right? If one uses, a certain amount of money, the other one is reacting to it perhaps, and it has a certain intensity to it. can have. I'm not saying it's in all relationships, of course not. It can have, especially if your differences and you haven't figured a way to kind of soften it somehow. If it's still very edgy, it's like a ticking bomb, like, and it takes very little to repel from each other and become angry with each other and fight each other. And, over here it's much more relaxed. You can have periods of life where you move to, another country. Maybe because you want some kind of excitement, or you want an experience there. And they understand that. Like, you don't have the same responsibility towards each other that in the committed relationship. You could say this is maybe a little more on a day-to-day basis, maybe not so committed, or differently committed. It's differently committed than what we call committed romantic relationship. It's much more intense here. And there is actually very little room for error here. Like, the other partner will react or feel it. Where here we have a little more, like, there's a much bigger there's a more flexibility in, and you can mess up. You can say, I'm sorry, I chose to move away. I chose to run. I chose to do something else. I was so absorbed in my feelings. I had no time for anyone. I'm sorry, but I really just want to connect again, right? And I hope you're right. And this other one is just going to say, oh, but I understand. I understand this can happen. Are you all right? Like, they would not just shove you away and say, yeah, okay, but you have left me out for a year, so now you are off, my dear, right? Like, like a flexibility of something, right? Becoming aware of that. It's also because it puts a pressure, like it's like a pressure cooker. Couples can become pressure cookers to each other. They don't have to, but they can. Like, the love we must have can actually become a pressure cooker. Where this is a little more, there's less pressure here. Like, being put pressure on is not very fun. It's not something that is usually not liked. People don't like it when other people put pressure on them. Like, it's uncomfortable. So this is one of the characters of true love, actually, that we are not putting pressure on each other. And that is maybe also a paradigm shift, right? That the pressure or control, or whatever you want to call it, of course it can yield some kind of result. But then it's kind of forced, and is that caring? Like, is that loving? So that's what I feel like. It's like, and there are some thoughts here about this, or some awareness, something you may, you have been thinking about, something you have been And maybe, like there could be someone from your, let's say your past here, whom you recognize. And you think about them and you say, oh, but they never did that. Like they never pressured me. They didn't do that. Like they were actually kind. They were always open. They always, like, and even after 5 years, if I call them, or, they would just open the door. No strings attached. Not something like, okay, I open my door, and when you get in and sit in my couch, now I tell you how disappointed I am. Now I tell you how bitter I've been. Now I tell you how I've missed you. Or now I tell you how sad I was. Or now I tell you, there is some kind of special compassion and understanding between them. And that is rare, I feel like. It definitely has to, I feel it's rare. Maybe that's just my experience in life, but that's what I feel. It is rare, or at least we have to become aware of it. Like if we have connections like that, they are actually quite important. I believe we need both in some sense. The comfort zone is usually, when we stick in this comfort zone, we don't necessarily evolve. Like you sit with all your friends and you agree on everything. So what a shock it is when you go out in the world and you meet someone who doesn't. You're not prepared then to actually like deal with someone like that, right? Do you get my point? Like if you've always been, family, friends, it's always been the same. You've always seemed to have this harmonic comfort. This is harmonious also, right? It's like it swings with each other. It just fits, right? But then you come out and you find someone who does this, right? It's going to be a bit like a shock then, that someone is not harmoniously swinging with you. I just feel like you have changed your mind about what feels like true love here for you. What characterizes it for you? It can be that someone returns in your life, or you make contact with someone. I'm not quite sure yet what that is, but let's have a look here. The next card we get here is the Queen of Ariel. Nurture yourself and those you love. The ability to make anything more beautiful. Practical and wise advice. Mature, practical, generous, and happy. A Queen of Ariel here. Yeah, it's interesting because if you are around people like this, they can build you up. If you have been totally down, broken, if you somehow have friends like this around you, they can build you up again. Like they can help you, restore yourself. Like restore those values you have. Restore your self-worth, right? They are healers in that sense, and you can be it to each other, right? And when you have someone like that in your life, that's what it is. They help you nurture yourself, see your values, right? They help you like become aware of who actually loves you. See the beauty in life, maybe your own beauty again, right? And there can be practical and wise advice from them to, like grow into becoming the queen again. And when I talk about queen, I talk about Taurus. I talk about like building up that Taurus energy, Venusian energy, that trusts and is beautiful and feminine and soft and receptive and all this, like becoming beautiful here in that sense, radiating more of this energy out there. It softens you. It softens you to be around people that really care about you. But I feel like it's not just that they care, you care equally as much for them and their well-being as they do for yours. And you swing the same, it's like the same pendulum. You have the same kind of swing to your approach to life, but you have chosen each other here. And this is very important. Like that choice changes something. Maybe the paradigm shift here is possible if you have someone here who is like that around you, who offers you that kind of comfort zone to go through that process, who helps you to understand that and be yourself in there, to restore your energy again. As I said, if you have a broken heart, who do you go to? You go to this friend, right? Who understands, who cares, who says you can stay with me for a few days. I make you soup. I cuddle you here, right? I sit with you in front of the fireplace, and we can sit and drink a glass of red wine and just, relax and recuperate, I'll be there for you. I'm there for you, right? I'm there for you. I love you. I've always loved, I'm your friend. The reassurance of that I am all right, that I'm okay, that I love you, right? I see you and I love you for who you are. Maybe this other one chose to run away or ran off, or you bounced off each other. This is the friend you go to through the divorce. This is the one that is kind and caring and understanding and who listens and everything. But you may do the same for them, right? If they are in similar trouble, you would come to them. You would ask how they are. You would be concerned about them or think about them. You would show them that they have value, that they it's on my mind how you are, right? It's on my mind how you are. And I show you that by calling or by, by sending you a text, how are you? I've been thinking about you, right? And again, because the pressure, there's no pressure about commitment, I feel like. Like the commitment is different here. It's there, but it's different. Does that make sense? Like it's so easy in a committed relationship to, you say something and the other one takes it as a criticism, or but when you say that, don't you love me anymore, or I'm asking you what dress to wear and you say this one, but I think I look fat in that one, right? Do you think I look fat in this dress? But actually you don't want to hear the answer, right? Because if he says yes, then you feel criticized. How can he say that, right? But you just asked him, and it's like it's this. There's so little, like the communication. There's so little that can be. Everything can be misunderstood, and sometimes it just ends up with people are not saying much to each other, because if I say it, then I probably, I want to say my truth, but I don't want to be punished for it. Here I feel like you can say your truth. Like the other one understands. If you come across someone like this in your life, you keep them around, right? This is not something to be taken lightly. They are extremely important in our lives. That's what I feel, just my opinion, right? So you can say you can have relationship that tear us down, and then you have relationship that build us up. Which one do you prefer? I think we need a bit of both, maybe not totally torn down, but we need to be challenged a little bit. And then we go back, right? We go and play football in the field, and then someone kicks my leg, and it hurts, and I go back to mom, right? Mom, right? My leg hurts, and they were kicking me, and and you get the reassurance, you get the comfort and the warmth and everything, and then you're ready to go out there again. But there's this back and forth here. But I'm just saying it's important to have this, something like that in your life. And I think someone has gotten aware of that. That how healing this is, and we all need this. Let's have a look at this one. So I get Magician and the Mirror here. Just showing you the card here, and I'm looking in the screen to see what stands out here. Of course, well, the Magician stands in the middle and is able to hold different energies here. What I feel like comes through today is something like the ability to see each other's differences, right? And somehow being able to stand in the middle of that. Finding that, as I said, this idea of merger or something, that sometimes we can be very different energies here. And we can fight each other for that. We can point fingers at each other for that. Right? I can hate you for this. I can be angry with you. I can point fingers. I can maybe I want to control you. Maybe I want to beat you. Maybe I want to just love you, but you don't want to love me. They are opposites here. But what if we could find a way to what if we could find a way to look past that? Again, I get a feeling of like maybe that's what happens here, right? That two opposites, they see each other's value and respect each other's filter. Like something has shaped you in being what you are, and I'm attracted to you, or I love you. I know I do. And something has shaped me. Something I am, and I've been, like taught things, and it has shaped me. You are something, and something has been taught and shaped you. You are in a certain way, you act in a certain way, I do too, but we have something together here. And even though you are different than me, then I can see, it's a bit like the Beauty and the Beast or something, like two coming together that potentially they are not adaptable. Like the innateness of them is not necessarily a fit, but what if it could be? Like what if, because the potential is again something like if I don't have you in my life, I may be hurting, right? If you're in my life, we could, like bounce off each other. But what if we didn't? Like, my way of being is not wrong, and my needs are not wrong. Your way of being is not wrong. Your needs and views, values, and it's not wrong. It's just different. But I want to stay me, yeah. And you want to stay you, yes. And you can. Again, it takes adaptation to figure out that you can stay you and I can stay me, but we can still care for each other, right? We can still love each other. We can still, maybe we can, as I said, maybe we can live together. Like that is too much of a, but we can find, you could say, more of a common ground with each other than differences. Like we are very different. Maybe this was the past, like maybe you always came across someone who was more like your opposite. Maybe this was what you were drawn to and what you were, always ending up with. Maybe Gemini, Virgo energy here, it says Magician. And the mirror, like the one that mirrors your core, you would say. But as I said, these relationships are, it's like this is over here, as I said, that's the relationship you have over here, and this one is the one you have over here, right? Like that is they're two different, it's like two different, having a look at two different relationship styles here. And what dynamic are in them? What drives this one? And what drives this one? I believe in this set of relationships, it's like there are two different life force atoms here. One works and operates and desires certain things. One works and operates and desires something else. They are not wrong. They're not bad. There are none of them that are necessarily better than the other. They're different. That's why they attract. It's like the battery, right? That you have like plus, minus. You have positive and negative. It's like that's seemingly how the world works. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy. It takes a lot of work to deal with an energy like this. Like you have to be able to stand in the middle and somehow see each other's like differences, and again, as I said, it takes a shift here. It takes a shift in humanity, I want to say. It takes a shift in like how we see each other. Like we just point the fingers because they are not like us, or we get attracted to them, but then we figure out how difficult this is. And how they are not just... Like in the beginning it was so perfect. Why doesn't that continue? We are seduced by the initial, falling in love. Being in love is like it's an illusion. You could say there are certain energies that naturally attract to each other. It's a fit. But the point is that we are humans. So with this fit, a lot of other things comes along. We have feelings, and we are constantly bombarded by things from the outside world. So we have egotistical needs and different sets of maybe other responsibilities, like children. We are not available for each other all the time. We go to work, we have different things we do. Like a connection here, I believe this is primarily sexual. Like it's and that's it. It's not to say that it's bad, but that's what it is. It's just that's what it is. That's why it comes together, because naturally this wouldn't make sense. Like they are so different. How should they end up together? Like that must be something else that drives this. Otherwise they are utter opposites. They have different values, they have different priorities. They one plays football, one is a yoga instructor. One drinks beer, one only drinks water, and one is a party type, one is a quiet homie type. This doesn't make sense. Like them coming together, logically it doesn't make sense. It's something else that drives it. But staying together doesn't mean that it's easy. I think someone has had a thought about this, has been thinking about this, and wanting to change, like maybe once you were seeking your happiness with the opposite, trying to, be happy here. But I think you have shifted your belief system in realizing maybe I'm a type that prefers something else. Maybe I prefer something else. Maybe I do not prefer my opposite. Maybe I prefer someone who is more similar to me. Maybe I prefer, or I am happier. I'm happier and more peaceful. I can feel more at ease here than I can here. Like, for me, there's no right choice here. It just is what it is. Like that. That's what I kind of keep saying. Opposites, or what we call good or bad, it is what it is. Like it's things that feel bad for us is because it's not choosing us. It's against us. When we fall sick, it feels like something is against me, right? So therefore it's bad. It's threatening me, or it's, like challenging me in some way. So it feels bad. That's why we can also have, like the bad boy and the good girl that kind of come together as opposites, because it's dangerous but also alluring. And none of them have no idea of how this is going to affect them in the long run. He may fall in love, which threatens his badness. She may be burned by his fire, right? Or anger, or like his frustration. That's kind of the bad guy thing. She may be burned by that. So they are challenging each other. With each other's shadow. But that's what it is. We just have to get to see that. This is the paradigm shift. It's like when you realize some of this, you will be much wiser when you are on the dating market, or when you are looking for a partner or something. Whom to choose. Again, I believe you will have drama here and excitement, and maybe a lot of like hot sex here. And you will have peace here, and reassurance and reliability. You will have something caring, something that is flexible here. This will be more intense. This will be more relaxed. It is what it is. The intensity, the sex, the attraction, the flirt is maybe like really heightened here, maybe not as much here. But again, what do you prefer? Like what makes you most happy here? What makes you, I don't know, I said heal again perhaps after something, maybe you have been up against someone like this, as I said, the good girl and the bad boy, like maybe you got burned, or maybe you fell in love and you don't know how to handle that. As a bad boy, you don't know how to handle that. So we go back to the safe zone, right? We go back where we feel comfortable and listened to and understood and cared for. To, to find or to reload ourselves again. I think someone has changed their mind here about whom to. I feel like, or again, it's just an energy. It can't be a specific person here, right? You have been dealing with. Who was your opposite, I feel like? Could be a Gemini or Virgo here. Or someone with Gemini and Virgo in their chart strongly. Maybe their Venus sign. right? Because I'm talking about you, Venus, Taurus is Venus, so maybe that, and about love and attraction and relationships. So it could be Venusian energy that you have been picking up on. That could be Gemini or Virgo here. Or sun signs, of course. Maybe you are attracted to a Gemini here or a Virgo. But I feel like someone has been changing their mind, I think. Realizing where you're more comfortable, is more peaceful. There's a lot more reassurance between those two, and it's more, I feel like actually stable, even though sometimes you are away from each other. Like maybe sometimes you don't see each other, right? But there is an understanding. It's all right. That's why the commitment is different, but it takes the pressure off. Like it's all right to be at a distance, or it's all right. You just have to figure it out, right? And I feel like they have agreed on how they connect. There are many ways of loving people. You can love someone from a distance. Truly loving them from a distance. And have their best intentions at heart. I think this happens also when children move out of home. Like young adults that move out of home. And they go to college or something, but the connection is still there, right? The connection is still, the home is still there. When they come home in the weekend or vacation or something, the bed is still there. The hug is still there. Like that feeling that it's something that prevails even through hard times, or even through separation or distance. Yeah, that's what I feel like. So for the tenderness card here, I get the Fool card. This is interesting. So this is like a new feeling. The Fool card is always something new. It's a 0 card. It's like a new beginning. A new beginning of something very caring here. Like the Fool card usually comes after the World card, that you have somehow wrapped up a cycle of something where you may have been more into this situation. But so this could be like a totally new feeling, like a new kind of commitment, a new kind of, I want to say feeling. We could even say a new journey. A new journey with this in focus. Again, as I said, it could be like you have, you have been dating people, right? You've been dating people, and you may have chosen from the way they looked, maybe that they seemed exciting or something. But now you're looking for something else here. Or you return to like this feeling, where do I feel comfortable? Where do I feel like really cared for? Like even though, it has been months or where was that feeling, right? Where was this feeling of like a mutual caring relationship? And this could be an entirely new feeling. It can be a new relationship. The Fool indicates something new. Something like the Fool, it can be carpe diem, let's see what happens. I'm going this way, I'm choosing this way, I'm choosing this. I choose this now. The Fool is usually, like a young person that has enthusiasm about something. So I'm going forth with this. Sometimes the Fool card is depicted with like the Fool is about to like walk over a cliff and fall. And there are some dogs that are barking to, to warn the Fool that if you continue walking, you could fall off the cliff here. But the Fool is like, well, let's see what happens. Carpe diem. I trust myself. I trust that I can do this. I have what it takes. I believe this is the right choice for me. So I'm doing it anyway. That's why he is considered the Fool, right? That he could come across a bit silly or reckless, maybe even, or he hasn't considered the consequences of something. But actually, I think you have. Like, if this resonates with you, I think you have. Like, this would be, like opening a new dating app profile, and you are looking for something specific here. You're looking to recognize certain things that characterize a willingness to choose each other. So you're embarking on a new journey, something new in your life here. Something you haven't done before. Something that is different. With the paradigm shift, right? It's different. Like, it takes a paradigm shift to get the Fool card, right? It takes a paradigm shift to change something from the World card, ending up a cycle of something, to then do something new. It's a choice, or it's a new priorities, new values perhaps. And that's why the Fool card is here. It's a new journey or a new experience here of something you haven't felt this before, I feel like. So I took a Lemurian card. I get this communication and co-creating. So we see how these three entities are somehow co-creating together, right? So co-creating with love, co-creating with divinity maybe here. These are, like they seem a little bit like alien or otherworldly beings, and that's because it's the Lemurian card. It could be, as I said, this could be God. It could be like, it doesn't have to have physical form, but well, it has here. It could be, someone here, but again, look at how similar they are to each other. And they have a way of co-creating something here. It's so interesting. It's so interesting because, like, they look similar, but they are not quite similar. They have different colors. It's like if you take these two apart, this is an entity like this one, and this is an entity like this one. But something very magical happens when you put them together, like when she gives him a kiss here, right? Or her. I don't know if this is a he or a she, but there is an exchange here. This exchange it creates something special here. That's the co-creation, right? That when both of them come together in love and peace and understanding and reassurance of each other, the choice of each other, then something special is created between them, right? There's something special created there. That both of them can feel it's present, it's there. So when you send something to the other, they can feel it and they send something back, and together you have this very beautiful spinning chakra here, perhaps, right? That is just beautifully, it's a beautiful exchange here that co-creates with each other. And being apart doesn't give the same. Like you can't have the same without them. The environment you create together, the circumstance you have, maybe the humor you have together, maybe the laughter you have together, it creates something very special. That's how you recognize them also, right? That you recognize that whenever you are around them, something very special is happening. Something very beautiful, I feel like here. I believe in certain spiritual realms there is a saying that you can co-create with the divine. And this card would be a good representation of that. Maybe this is a divine being or something. I have talked a bit about that as well. Or this feeling that you are in some kind of connection with a hybrid. Like there's something around you, like an animal spirit or some kind of maybe an ancestor or something that comes across as a different form or something that you can connect with. And if you connect with them, there is this special thing here going on. And that is an entirely new feeling here. So this was a Lemurian card, and they are sometimes like they come across like this, like otherworldly. So let's have a more earthy card, perhaps. Take another tarot deck here. So let's have a card on this one to see if we can have if there's a physical representation here. Okay. So I get Knight of Wands here. So So you see, what I get from this is like, it's the partnership between you and someone else. It's like you are in a swing together. You have a partnership together, like the knight and the horse. Like the knight can be a fierce fighter and everything, but he is not as efficient, and he will not have the same strike if he's not on a horseback. He cannot move as fast with his armor on, right? Like they have a partnership here together. Partners in crime or partners in... And the fire here is, I feel like it's about, you have the same passion. Like you want to fight for the same things. Again, this like a value, a same value. You're not the same, but you are the same. You're not the same, but you think the same. You have the same priorities. You have the same values. I almost get the feeling that like the knight and horse think like the same. Like they want to move to the same place. They want to go in the same direction. They want to fight the same fights. They want to stand up for the same kind of cause. They are like-minded, right? Even though they are very different here. One, you could say, in this case, usually the horse follows the rider. So someone is a leader and someone is a follower here. But that's quite all right. That's why they swing together, right? They swing together, but it's seeing the value. Like the horse without a rider may not be able to do much about the course. But when the rider is on its back, now suddenly there's something to be done about the course. If the rider here, the knight, is on foot, he's way too slow, and he will be exhausted. The amount of like area he needs to cover without the horse. You know, it is something about seeing that someone has value in one area and someone has value in another area, or have strength and power in one area and one has strength and power in another. The horse is said to be like very, very intuitive. Like it picks if the rider is, you know, is angry or is not confident, the horse will become insecure. Like it can feel it. It will have difficulty in trusting the knight here. So the knight needs to have that leader potential, then the horse will follow and be safe and feel safe and feel that it trusts the rider. So there is a deep trust bond here, and there is a deep appreciation between these energies here. I don't know if it is, well, it's shown as a giraffe, but you know, it could be an animal. It could be someone you're co-creating. You're doing something with someone else here, and together you are a much stronger force, or together you are a much more powerful duo, right? It's like a duo here. That I feel like the knight has, well, the knight is committed to something. They fight for a cause. You know, they have a code and an honor. So they are devoted to something. They're committed to a cause. They want to fight for it, and they have a helper here. They have someone like a duo in crime, or maybe not in crime, but in cause. A duo of course. a, um, a like-minded duo here. And that's what I say, if you have a friend like this in your life, like really feeling on track here with each other, totally, it's like you balance each other out totally. Like keep them around, right? Like this is extremely important stuff to have in your life. And that could be an entirely new feeling here. Like this could be, maybe you've never had that. Like this would be, like seeing the knight and the horse standing in front of each other, and the horse won't budge and the knight won't budge. I want to go in one way, yeah, but I want to go in another. They don't swing together then, right? This is, but when they look like this, they swing together. Like that's what I feel is like it swings together. It's a, it's like I feel like pendulum, but the pendulum is usually one pendulum. This is like two pendulums that just swing perfectly together, symmetrically. And yes, they could be different. It says here, magician and the mirror. It's like there's something in you that is a mirror-like. Almost like it instantly melts together. But on the outside, it may be very different. But it's almost like a heart merging or something. And when that happens, it is a very special connection. That's what I feel like I have here. Like it's a merging. And this is very, like the Fool card indicates, this is like a totally new feeling. Like you haven't felt this before. And for some reason, like it doesn't feel dangerous. It doesn't feel like I think you embrace this. Like the Fool card would suggest that you have finished off the old cycle of maybe running away or disregarding it or not understanding it or something. Here it's like you have somehow started this co-work. Like the co-worker. I think in the Aries reading I said something about that sometimes you can't do it alone. Like you need something to co-create with. In the front picture of my readings for this round of readings, it's something about like God's speed. Like there's something about like divine timing. There's something about, becoming ready for something, aligning yourself with it. Like God's speed is always perfect. Again, the merger doesn't come overnight necessarily. It may take a while, and then maybe you figure it out. But it's because you are so different. So maybe once you saw someone as like your utter opposite and you could never ever find any kind of like reassurance or peace or anything with them here. They would always be your, you could see, opponent or even enemy here. But now it's like you have somehow again, this can be someone from your past, as I said, right? That you thought about them as an opponent, someone not to be trusted, maybe. Maybe you pointed fingers at them, maybe you didn't like them. Maybe you ran from them, And now it's like you have realized something here. But I feel like they have too. Like they have too realized something. And it's new. It's a totally different approach to what you were standing in front of once. Like maybe you're choosing something entirely different now, or like these energies have figured it out. Like they have figured out that I can stay away from you, but actually I'm miserable like that. Both of you may be. And I can get closer to you and I can be offended by you and irritated by you and so on, and then I repel again, and then I feel miserable, like this. So how, if we could somehow see each other's value instead, like instead of standing here and being opponents, maybe we could co-create together, right? We could be each other's allies instead of each other's we could become allies, right? Instead of being married, we could separate and still be friends, right? Maybe we will be better parents if we split, because we will actually be able to see each other in a different way, right? We will, take it how it resonates, what your situation is, but that's the energy that is here. Usually we like what is familiar. Like we like the things that we are somehow familiar with. So if it is, let's say, as a child we find most comfort and in maybe connecting with our family. But let's say you have an encounter as a child with a ghost. Because it's not familiar to you, it's not like you, you may be frightened of it. Maybe it's not an evil ghost, right? Maybe it's actually a beautiful angel, right? But you don't know what it is. It's unfamiliar, it feels strange. Usually we can feel it, right? Whether the energy is malefic or benefic. But again, we are taught by society and everything to think in a certain way. And if it doesn't fit our normal life, like if we have different standards, if we have shallow egotistical like prioritizations or priorities, someone who is not like that, it's like it's not fitting into our world, and we would maybe disregard it. But someone has changed their mind here, I think. About what to choose to have in your life. It is the center card, so it's very important. It's like it's defining maybe your life. You could say it is defining maybe how you want to live your life or what you want to have in it. Because of happiness, right? because of a nice life, because of a beautiful life. Right? Not just for one, but for both. Like both of you are interested in this. It makes sense for both of you. It's a win-win situation, you could say. But both have to choose it. And be like wanting to commit in that way. That a more flexible commitment, or not even a commitment, but it's a choice to be there for each other and rely on each other. Yeah, that's what I feel like I have here. So I wanted a card on this Queen of Ariel here, and I get this one. It's called Mirabai, the Saint of True Freedom. Love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul. This could even be like, it's the last sentence here. I'm married with my own soul. I remember a card that came up. Was it in the last Aquarius reading? Something about that ego and soul is working together, right? That your ego is now actually in service of the soul, not the other way around. So, the Saint of True Freedom, freedom and happiness. Love is what sets me free. And I'm married to my own soul, so I am connected with, like my soul is what is now driving something forward. Maybe that's why I took this card, because the soul has this sense of something otherworldly. People can see the soul, right? We can see when it has left. Like when a person is dying, we can see that, like when it's gone, we can see that the body is now a body and nothing more. We can feel the difference when the soul is leaving. But we can see the soul, right? That's why I say it has this non-form, otherworldly kind of tune to it, right? Maybe that's even what this is, that you have realized that you can work, or you are in some kind of connection here with something that is, again, soul is, you can't see your soul. Well, some say you can if you look in a mirror a lot. look yourself in the eye, maybe you can see the soul in there. But otherwise you can't really see the soul. It doesn't have a shape. It doesn't have a form. It could look like a giraffe, right? It could look like a horse. It could look like anything. It could look like these here. We don't know, right? The paradigm shift here could talk about like an ego death, that you allow your ego to transform into like a helper energy, right? That now it wants to co-create with your soul, or what we call the divine, that there's a sense of freedom in this. Maybe you feel or sense a very big freedom here. A relief maybe of something. But I also feel like, again, the tenderness like this, it's very like the incoming feeling of this could be very, like soft and slow and almost not detectable. It's very tender and gentle and kind and but it could come in like a very, like a little knock on the door. Like a little knock on the door, and then it kind of just, it approaches, right? It approaches you. And that could be this new feeling, like that there's a new feeling coming in. But again, if it has to come in a kind, loving way, that's the way, right? It's not forcing itself in, right? It's going to be maybe again tender, gentle, not forceful. It's just, like a tiny little knock on the door, like hello, that kind of feeling. Maybe that it's also a way of recognizing it, like it's not going to be forceful. It's probably going to be slow, going to be soft and kind and understanding and everything, which may seem new, right? And I somehow also feel like now the saint of true freedom comes up, right? It's like you are in a relationship with something, but sorry, it's in no way limiting you. Like it's in no way trying to take your freedom from you, or containing you or controlling you. Like it's that soft and gentle. But yet I feel like yet profound, as yet life-changing, I want to say. It's yet life-changing. It's like freeing your heart from some kind of burden. Yeah. Now it's like your ego and your soul becomes a duo, right? Or what this is, it becomes a well-functioning and co-creating duo together, instead of being on each other's nerves, or which one is actually like in charge here. So if you have felt confused lately, if you have felt you didn't know which way to go, if you have felt that most of your life, then you probably had this thing going on. Like soul and ego are opposites. The ego exists as a protective mechanism in the brain. It's constructed by like our reactions to the outside world and what we have experienced. So it holds a certain kind of memory. The soul holds another kind of memory and is regarded to be infinite. The body is mortal and reacts with instincts and a desire, personal, bodily desires and needs. And the soul acts or behaves from a different point, from an infinite point. So make these two find each other and see each other's value and understand each other and what each other need. As I said, it's all about that. So whether this is an ego thing, a soul thing, or a person in your life, or an animal, or God maybe, the divine in some way, you figure that, you think about that, right? But it's about co-creation. It's about from maybe have been, we can seem eye to eye to figuring out how to work together. Even though we have differences and we normally don't get along, right? That's what I feel like. That's what's here. Definitely. And it's in the middle, and the Fool card indicates it has started, like it is here. It is here. Whether it has arrived or it has, really embedded itself in your life. You can see it manifest in different things. I don't know, but it's the center card, so it is here. This was a card that was over here in the beginning. This was a clarifier for this card, right? These two go together. This is new. It has started. Maybe you only feel like this, as I said, like an incoming small knock on the door about something. And like an invitation to talk more or to connect or something. But it is definitely here. We could talk about that this is the fifth dimension that many spiritual people talk about, right? That the fifth dimension is here. It is possible to, connect with it. That it has arrived, it is here, it is possible. And that could talk about the paradigm shift from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, that you've been feeling this also, and you're now seeing, like maybe the first inklings, you have the first inklings of this. Feeling it calling you more and more and so on, right? If this is co-creation with the divine, I would say, this is where I feel like we could have the beginning of the Hierophant. The Hierophant can be a priest, right? It can be someone that is in connection with something else here. It doesn't have to be, right? But this is where you build the Hierophant in you. Like you build some of these, the openness, the ability to connect, the trust, the faith in God, maybe, the connection. It's not just something you think, you feel it also. It's a part of your entire being. It lights you up. It's a purpose, you know. So this could be like we could have a Hierophant a starting point of a Hierophant here. Again, maturing about an energy that is maturing into something, and it makes you feel free and happy here. It could be the feeling that you have finally found a life purpose or a life mission of something kind. Finally, it's like your home, right? Finally, that's what I feel. This is more home than this relationship I've tried to explain before. This feels more home here, over here. It feels more home than this other one does. It could be the feeling of coming home, reconnecting with this like old friend that you have been separated from for so very long, or someone you have been fighting with. Again, these two here, that you have been fighting with this one, or feeling that you have been in some kind of competition with someone here for a very long time. Maybe it seems like you have suddenly figured out how to make peace somehow, or to just have what's that called? A truce, truce. Like you stop fighting. I don't know if this is something that is actually potentially manifesting on, worldwide. There could be something like, when I say truth, the Russian-Ukrainian war. Like if there suddenly is a truce. I don't know, but it's just the wording that somehow kind of shifted my perspective to, imbalances on the earth, on Gaia, right? That there could be a sense of acceptance, maybe. I'm not saying that it will be for all kinds of, that now the earth is like harmonious, peaceful. I don't think so. But there could be certain groups here that somehow come together. That would be quite fascinating, actually, if that was the case. So instead of working apart and being separate, and maybe even working against each other, and pointing fingers, they are deciding to get past that and co-create together instead. Like that would be ultimate, you could say. Like that is definitely a growth, right? That would be maturing, because before it seemed more childish, right? It seemed like, I want this toy car. No, I want it. No, I want it. No, I want it, right? Until maybe an adult decides, okay, you take turns on this. And now we draw straws and we see which one gets to play with the toy car first, right? It's like a maturing. It's being more resolution minded, looking for win-win instead, looking for it's about maturing. Like it's like a growing up, you could say, like, and that is a growth phase, like growing up and leaving certain emotional things behind that were maybe like they were indisputably not able to find a solution together. But now you are. And the reason for that is that something has matured. Something has figured out that what we are doing is not working, it's not helping. And if you can put some of your anger aside, I can put some of my anger aside. That is a maturing, right? That is an emotional maturing. And again, this idea that not necessarily taking it so personal, but we tend to do that. People tend to do that. We take things very personal. But if we can bypass that one, right? If we can somehow bypass or get over or grow from that point, that is not helping anything, to take things personally and feel wounded and feeling defeated or feeling left behind, or then if we can somehow put that to rest and start again here with a truth and a commitment, right? A commitment to try. A commitment to try. To work this out. That is what I see. And for that to happen, sometimes you need to be able to become this middle guy here, who stands and he can watch both of them. Like he can watch, okay, he has this one has these kinds of ideas and thoughts and this kind of filter, these needs. And over here we have something entirely different. They think like this and they have these beliefs and these thoughts and these needs. But if I can never position myself here, I stay over here. I can never think outside of myself. I stay in my own little bubble. I will never ever be able to understand you. If I can position myself here, I can look at my own way of thinking and behaving, and I can look at their way of thinking and behaving. Then perhaps I can argue my own case, but I may also be able to be open and understanding and listening to how they argue their case, and the other way around. there can be a greater understanding. And this is where I feel like the merger of from the third dimensional, more dualistic lifestyle and life experience, to a merger of something where the dualistic experience will become, it's still there, but it becomes more kind, it becomes kinder. And it realizes, instead of like fighting each other or compete against each other, we can work together. This is not new, of course. We know we have humanity have tried this for always. This just suggests, in your case, Taurus, that there is something that seems to want to merge more. Both of them do. The Fool is known as Aries energy. And we have fire here as well, so there could be an Aries here, or some kind of Aries energy that is that you have been up against, or you know, like you have been feeling the heat of them. And Aries is, Aries can be quite stubborn. When it sets itself a goal, it will go there and maybe not ask anyone, right? They will go do it, and maybe look for forgiveness afterwards. They can be very like impulsive and very self-driven, and sometimes a bit bulldozer-like, right? Because they don't. It's like a little toddler child that just, it sees something and it goes towards it without recognizing if there are some maybe risk involved. That could be why the Fool is also here, right? The Fool and Aries is a bit of the same, as I said, a young energy that it goes out there, marches out there to just, this is great, right? What a wonderful world. Let me see what's out here. A stone, a flower, the sun. And everything is amazing. Everything is just great. And they walk around, they don't see the cliff, and even though they are warned, they may tip right over, right? This could maybe be that's how that's what they normally do, right? They normally So this could be someone who has matured from being a Page of Wands, as I just described, doing whatever they want to do, to now being a Knight here. And they want to co-create with you. Maybe it's your own fire, maybe you have fire energy. As I said, I said in the beginning, maybe there's maybe you are a cross watcher here for Taurus, right? Or something. So now we have a Knight here. I'm not saying this is by far not an Emperor. Aries is also Emperor energy, divine masculine energy, right? This is by far not a divine, you could say, or a divine masculine. But it has come to a point where it now wants to co-create. Maybe it has even defeated its own resentment and is now willing to start like from scratch. start again. Let's start again here. Let's see if we can do this better than we have done until now. And I recognize that I have, some of this may be my fault, or I recognize my responsibility in this. And the other one does as well. You see? Something like that. Yeah. This is what I have. So I take a card here now on the paradigm shift here, and I get the 6 of Michael, which makes sense. This talks about leaving a situation behind, leaving tumultuous waters behind, and looking for calmer waters. Looking for something more caring or loving or kind or suitable, at least for you, right? Depending on what energy you have, what you find good in your life, right? So there's a shift, like you have to leave something behind to get something new. You need to leave something dark or tumultuous behind to have the fresh new beginning here. And that change, it takes a paradigm shift. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. Breathe a sigh of relief and make new plans, relocation or travel. There's a shift of something. A shift in thoughts. It is a swords card. Michael is air energy. So it is a swords card. It has to do with air. It has to do with the way you think, the way your identity perhaps. Like the things you say about yourself and others, prejudice maybe, or tearing them down here. Tearing down a paradigm of something, some kind of belief system or thoughts or dogma, or that you actually you don't align with it. Like it puts you in trouble here, and you want to get away from it. Yeah, I think that's what I have. And one final card for the tenderness. I get the journey here. How beautifully holding over his heart here and just tuning into this beautiful energy, relaxed and calm, that you have been on a journey here, a journey of healing, a journey of aligning, a journey. I feel like again this. I have a strong feeling of like this is my home, right? This is where I feel at home. Maybe an entirely new feeling, or starting new. But this time I have a totally different feeling. This time I rely on this. This time it feels, it fits me. It swings with me. It aligns with me. And I align with it. Like we're the same, though not the same, right? That kind of feeling. I hope this makes sense. And if it resonates, please give it a thumbs up. Again, this has been, I said, the journey I have for these round of readings. I have the divine timing image, or that God's speed is always right, that it's always perfect. that this couldn't have happened before now. It is the right time, it is the right, you are ready, they are ready perhaps. That this could not have happened if you put force on it. Like this could, the divine timing of this creation, this coming together, or this truth is, it has been taking a while perhaps. It has taken changes in both maybe you and them. You know, it has taken alignment. Maybe it has taken forgiveness. Maybe it has taken allowance. Maybe you needed to allow yourself to do something. Maybe you needed to assure yourself. And feel into it. Like become sure about it. But like the feeling is unmistakably beautiful here. No matter what your need is, like if you like excitement, if you like quiet, if you like, it doesn't matter what kind of person you are, it just feels home. Like I feel welcome. I feel like this is like the perfect welcome party, or the welcome hug here. That's what I feel like. You have been on a journey home, I feel like. Yeah, this is what I have. I hope this helped, Taurus, or clarified something, or maybe you resonate with it. If you do, please give it a thumbs up so the algorithm can pick up on it. It can be circulated more. If you have a comment, of course, please type in whatever you may like. I wish you the very best on this new beginning here, Taurus. This feels really beautiful. Very settled. It comes across as very settled, very calm, very beautiful, very caring, very gentle, tender. Like a big hug, right? That's what it feels like. I send you my very best, Taurus. Take care of yourself. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.